Hey everybody, Swarsky here. Thank you for being here. Again, I apologize for not feeling the best and not being there, especially for this piece, but we're going to do our best. Try it out. And remember, if you have any questions, just wait until Thursday when we get back. So apologies in advance if you hear me sneezing, coughing, doing anything like that. Can't really help it right now, not feeling the best. But we are going to work on the rest of this law of cosines, meaning we're going to solve for angles. We're going to figure that piece out, and then, and then we're going to try and put it all together and try kind of the multi ones where we have multiple pieces missing and to figure out what that means. Okay? So hopefully up to this point you've seen the blue kit and you've taken a look at how you would solve, looking at trig, law sines, law cosines, and going from there. Okay, so off we go and moving forward. So if you need, get page 34 out, pause the video, get yourself set up, something to write with, get that note packet, and off we go. Just as a reminder, we've already set up solving with sine. And if you remember, this would be the last question we had, so we've been in the middle of page, 34. And what that one was, so remember, law of cosines is, c squared, a squared, plus b squared, minus 2ab cosine c. In our case so far, we've had this piece missing. So everything else has been able to get filled in. And then we were able to, very conveniently, just plug this all into calculator. And just remember, we had to, whatever we got, we just had to make sure we square rooted that from it. Hold on one second. I can feel myself getting ready to sneeze, but I can't. So apologies if I got to stop randomly. But that's the base. We're still using law of cosines, but now here's kind of the icky one. Meaning we can't just plug it into a calculator. We have to really understand kind of what's going on, okay? So here's what is happening. So why don't you try this real quick? See if you can fill in the pieces that you need. So using law of cosines here, so we go c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus, I keep wanting to put equals, minus 2ab cosine c. See if you can fill out that as far as what we're given here on this one, where we have those 2 6s and a 4. Where do those go? How does it set up? Try it out. All right. So now, obviously, we're missing an angle. So that means this piece is going to be gone. Okay? Here. So all these other ones, A, B, and C, are all going to be filled out. Gosh, got to sneeze. It's not letting me. Sorry. Okay, but the big thing is that this C value has to be something very specific, okay? Because it's connected to the angle. The angle I'm finding, remember, that's why this big C, little c is the side opposite. So in this case, it matters what A, B, and C are. More importantly, it matters what C is. C is opposite the angle that I'm looking for. So this has to be 4. And then everything else, these are the same. 6 squared plus 6 squared. Minus 2, 6, 6, and then cosine, I don't know. All right, now, here's the thing we can't do. We can't just plug it in. So a little bit of work that we have to do. Okay? Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I actually have to start solving this. So I'm going to take some steps here and do that. So why don't we take the first one? So we're going to say, all right, well, 4 squared is 16. Equals 36 plus 36 minus 6 times 6 is 36 times 2. All right. I'm even going to take it one more step. So I'm going to go 16 cosine x. Here's the piece where people start making mistakes. And here's the thing that you can't do. This does not go to 0. Okay? And the big reason for that is that this negative 72 is connected to cosine x, meaning that negative 72 or minus 72 is being multiplied. So I actually eventually need to divide that out. So my steps here, instead of making that go to 0, I need to minus 72, okay? Which means I'm down to negative 56. Don't be scared of those negatives. Now I'm left with negative 72 cosine x Okay? Now I can get rid of it. This is good. Okay, since we have cosine x, we should get a fraction. Negative and negative turns positive, so now I'm sitting with this. Cosine x equals 5672. Hey, not bad. Again, whenever I have trig involved, what's the one thing I need to do to find the angle? Answer. Inverse. Okay, so calculator-wise, once I get to this fraction, cosine inverse. Okay. Solve, I get x equal to, round to the nearest tenth on this one, 38.9 degrees. Okay. So, big pieces that people miss. First of all, where this 4 goes, or which one goes here. It's always opposite the angle I'm trying to find. That tells me what side I need. The other one is, it looks too nice to do this and just add and subtract it. But remember, this negative 72 is multiplying that cosine. So I cannot make this go to 0. Don't let your brain tell you. Okay, it looks too sweet and it's too convenient to make that go to 0 and say like, yes, get rid of everything. But I need to move this over first and go down here. Now you might get these double negatives. You might have a negative result. You might have a positive. All that's okay. The only big thing is that you have a fraction less than 1. Okay? But negative and positive aren't a requirement, meaning it doesn't always have to be this double negative. It's not always going to be positive, all that stuff. Okay? That's it. Just going to take a little bit of algebra for us. So let's have you try one more here. Excuse me. Okay, solve for theta. See if you can set up, solve, and figure out what your angle of theta is. Go ahead and pause the video, try it out, and then I'm going to come back and do it. All right. My C value, or the one that's going to start, is this because it's opposite theta. So it's going to go 10 squared equals, now it's the other one, 7 squared plus 15 squared, minus 2 times 7 times 15, cosine of I don't know. Now I'm solving. Okay, I'm going to go through 100, 49, 225, okay. Again, do not add and subtract all of these together. That does not work. I'm going to actually do one more step. 100. Oh, what is this? 174. 274. 274. 210. Again, it seems always too sweet to be able to do this. Don't fall for it. Minus 274. Minus 274. Okay, so then I get negative 174. Then I go 210. Cosine theta looking good. Divide. And remember, it should be a fraction less than 1, which it is. So I'm going to be putting cosine inverse 210, which means theta, the angle, equals, put it at 34 degrees. Now, if you're off by a tenth here or there, that's fine. Now, I also want you to realize that once I get that, I could find these other pieces. And that's actually what we're going to do on this next step, is find multiple parts. Okay? So, let's find x and y. It doesn't matter what you start with, but hopefully what you realize is that I have to use law of cosines to start with. I don't have enough. I don't have a ratio that I can set up law of sines. Okay? So why don't you start it this way? Let's solve and find. Just find one. Well, let's actually figure out this way. Let's solve for x first, all together, so we can follow along with the video here. Solve for x first, and then I'm going to give you kind of the understanding of what you can do next, because you don't have to use law of cosines every single time, okay, to find the angles. 3, 2, 1, try it out. Set it up, solve, find just x right now, okay? So here's x first. So I'm going to go, if I'm doing x, 15 has to go first, right? That's what's connected. 15 squared, 7 squared plus 11 squared minus 2, 7, 11, cosine x. Set it all up. I'm going to actually take some steps in there. So I get 225, 49, 121, 154. So I should get to this point. So I go 225. Combine 7 squared and 11 squared, I get 170. Okay, minus 154. That's 2 times 7 times 11. Cosine x. Again, do not combine those two. I need to minus 170. Okay, which means I'm doing, where am I at? 55. So now remember, this is going to be a positive here, and that is okay. Minus 154 cosine x. Divide. Negative 154. So you have to make sure you're putting in cosine inverse of this. Okay, round it a little bit. I get x equal to 110.9. Okay, there's x. Now, you say, well, I got to find y. Do I have to do that whole thing again? I got to do law of cosines again? No. Look what I got now, 110.9. Look at the relationship I got. Now I can do law of sines, make it easier on myself. Well, I'm actually going to have you do that. So now I have this, and I'm trying to find y. Let's see if we can set up law of sines and solve for that angle. 3, 2, 1, try it out. Remember, you're going to inverse. Okay. So the nice thing is that I only have to do law of cosines once. Once I do that one time, now law of sines is open to me, whether I find a side or an angle, because then I get a relationship that I can use here. The ratio will work. Okay? This. So now I got sine 9, that's 15, equal to sine, I don't know, over 11. Cross multiply, I'm sitting here, I'm going to do sine inverse times 11. So I'm going to do 11 times, so if I'm going to put this in, remember if I'm finding the angle, sine inverse 11 times 15, all that in there. So I get y equal to there you go. Okay, now with that, I can find the third without having to do any work, right? I can do that piece. All right. So things to represent, or things to realize with that. In log, if you have to do log cosines, the max times you have to do it is once, because then once you do it, finding a side or an angle, you find law of sines opens up for you. Okay? So we found those two things, 110.9, 43.2. C, here's the last one, success. Find the missing pieces. We got this, I'm going to call this X, Y, and we'll call this Z. Well, yeah, we'll just leave that. Find those two pieces, the angles and this missing side. Use law of sines, law of cosines, all that's open. Think about what you have to start with, because there is one you have to find first. Try that out. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. I have to, given the information I have, the only thing I can find first is x. Okay, so and that I have to do law of cosines. So I don't know what this is. Now I can set it all in. 14, 32, 32 squared. 2 times 32. Oops, should have done 14, but that's okay. Cosine 95. Remember, it's because it's a side. All of this can go in, and I can just simply square root it. So x squared gives me, let's see, 1298, 8, and we'll call it 0.1. Take the square root of that, and I get x equal to right about 36. Okay, should make sense. It should be the biggest, because this is the biggest angle. Okay, what about those angle measures? Well, now that I've got this, now that I have this 36, ooh, that's not pretty. There, now that I have this 36 for x, now I've got this relationship, and now I can use law of sines. And I'm going to solve for y here. So now I can go sine 95 over 36. Sine of y over 14. I'm going to have to inverse. So that means I'm going to go sine inverse of, should be 14 times sine 95 over 36. And that y value will give me if I round, 22.8. Okay. Well, nicely, I don't have to do any other work to find Z, the last angle here, right? 95, 22.8. Oh, I get 62, 95, 96, 97, 62.2. Forgive me if my math is off a little bit, but that's it. That's finding all our pieces here. So again, to summarize, law of cosines, if we're just trying to find multiple things, I only have to do law of cosines once. And there's two combinations that make that work, law of cosines. If I have this side angle side, or the only other time I have to do law of cosines is if I have just three sides of a non-right. Otherwise, law of sines and trig are good. Okay, hopefully that works out for you. Hopefully that makes sense. Your last little piece, all of page 36, which is number 8 through 13, just practicing with law of cosines, angles, sides, multiple things to be solved. Remember, only law of cosines once, then you can switch to law of sines. Okay, that's it for this video. Hope you guys are doing well. Try the practice. We'll talk about it Thursday. Excuse me. Have a good rest of your day.